Well, welcome back. My name is Nelson Delgado, and I'm an energy psychologist in Mississauga, Ontario. And this is Gate 4, Gene Key 4, the Leo shadow of intolerance, the fear that no answer will bring you assurance, and the path to forgiveness. This specific challenge relates to the third eye. This is where discernment is and where inspiration can be infused. Since we're balancing or trying to balance both the creative mind and the logical mind, this shadow will disrupt a healthy exchange between both hemispheres that will interfere or interrupt divine discernment of what you can do next and embrace the mystery of life with a creative sense of self that warms your heart and the hearts of others. Let's first start with a nice story in regards to this shadow transmutation. In a village nestled between two mountains, there lived Marcus. He was known for being clever, but also sharp-tongued. He had little patience for mistakes, his own or others. To Marcus, the world was a puzzle that had to fit perfectly. When it didn't, he blamed others and often himself. One day, while walking along the banks of a great stream, Marcus stumbled on a large, jagged stone. Its sharp edges caught his attention. It was unlike any other stone, unyielding, unpolished, and entirely out of place in the gentle landscape. Frustrated, Marcus kicked the stone and muttered, "Even nature leaves imperfections behind." Then he had an idea. Perhaps I can shape this stone. Perhaps I can fix it. Day after day, Marcus returned to the stream with tools, hammers, chisels, and sandpaper. He worked on the stone, trying to smooth it, perfect it, but the stone resisted. Every strike chipped away only a little, and often in ways Marcus didn't expect. He grew angry at the stone, cursing it for not yielding. Weeks passed, then months. The village children stopped playing nearby, afraid of Marcus's scowl and his outbursts. Still, Marcus returned every week, determined to make the stone into something right. One autumn morning, an old woman appeared by the stream. She wore a cloak of pale blue and carried nothing but a bowl. She watched Marcus work for a time, then said, "Why do you strike this stone so angrily?" He said, "It refuses to change. It's ugly, broken, and wrong." The woman nodded. "Ah, so you've chosen to go to war with what you do not understand." Marcus stiffened. "I'm not at war. I'm correcting a mistake." The woman dipped her bowl in the stream and sat beside him. "You see a flaw. I see a lesson." He frowned. "A lesson in what?" "In how we choose to see." She said gently, "Strike a stone with force, and you may break it or yourself. Sit with it, and it may show you something deeper." Marcus laughed bitterly. "Stones don't speak." "No," she said, "but your judgments do." She left. Marcus turned back to the stone, but now it seemed different, less like an enemy, more like a question. That evening, Marcus sat by the stone without tools. He listened to the water flowing past, constant and calm. He noticed how the edges of the stone, once sharp, were ever so slightly worn by the stream, not by force, but by time. He returned each day, not to shape the stone, but to observe it, Slowly, the jagged edges softened. So did Marcus. He began to understand that his need to fix the stone came not from the stone, but from a deep discomfort within himself, an intolerance for what he couldn't control. Over time, Marcus began to change. He spoke more gently. He listened. He helped others, not by correcting them, but by trying to understand them. The village children returned, drawn by his calm presence and stories by the stream. Years later, when Marcus had grown old, a traveler asked him, "Why do you spend so much time by this ordinary stone?" Marcus smiled. "It taught me everything I know." "Did you ever shape it?" "No," Marcus said. "It shaped me." The reflection on this story is the stone represents intolerance, seemingly immovable, flawed, and resistant. Marcus's initial response is to fight it, to change it. This is the shadow, rejecting what is not understood. Through the influence of the wise woman, which is a symbol of insight or the higher self, Marcus begins the choice to seek understanding rather than control. He starts to observe, to listen, and to empathize. This represents the gift of understanding. In the end, by relinquishing his judgments and need to be correct, Marcus finds peace. He no longer seeks to change others or himself through force, but rests in a deep acceptance. This is the ascended state and or city of forgiveness, not as an act, but as a state of being. You see, the shadow of intolerance arises when we become rigid in our beliefs, rejecting differing perspectives and fostering division. This rigidity often stems from a deep-seated need to be right and fear of uncertainty. In this state, we may become emotionally reactive, misusing logic to justify our biases, leading to a distorted view of reality. This pattern can manifest as the repressive nature of apathy, where we withdraw emotionally, or the reactive nature of nitpicking, where we become hypercritical of others. The dilemma lies in the constant search for answers to avoid discomfort, often oscillating between dogmatism and doubt. Ultimately, this shadow keeps us trapped in a cycle of division and misunderstanding. And a closer look of the repressive nature of being apathetic, in this state, we withdraw emotionally, avoiding confrontation and suppressing our feelings, leading to disengagement and passive resistance. Here are a few, or maybe 6 things that one would say in this state. Oh, what's the point? It's not like it's going to work out anyway. Or, I keep failing, attracting others who do the same. I give up. Thirdly, so long as I get enough done, I won't attract negative attention. The fourth, when others passionately express their opinion, I'll accept it as fact. The fifth, why fight the traditions? Ignorance is bliss, so I won't question their philosophy. I don't have the discipline to stick with it unless it is easy. Now, after a while, this can only be useful to the ego or to an archetypal identity that you affiliate with. And so after a while, this wells up and becomes like a dam of unexpressed anger. Later on, it'll then become a reactive nature, which is to be nitpicking about every little thing or most things. So here we become hypercritical, focusing on the flaws and imperfections in others as a defense mechanism against our own insecurities. Here are the 6 possible reactive statements that can come from this shadow. This is taking too long. We need the results now, and it's time to act. The next one is, I will not tolerate incompetence. When I find the reason, I'll fix it or them. The third one is, I will micromanage everyone to make it as I see fit. The fourth, I let how I feel about something dictate my response, regardless of facts to support the opposition. Fifth, their rigidity impedes progress. I'll wake them up with facts and reasons. And sixth, I don't care if they think I'm going too far. I'll use whatever works the fastest. Once you realize the pendulum swing is happening and you're not really getting any progress made, there's just a lot more and more resistance from this pendulum swinging of repressive to reactive. You'll start to realize the real dilemma here, which is the need for answers. The dilemma of this fourth archetypal pattern of change arises from an intense need to seek definitive answers to avoid the discomfort of uncertainty. This conflict between wanting certainty and embracing ambiguity keeps us stuck. Ultimately, the struggle lies in learning to find peace in uncertainty and allowing space for diverse perspectives to coexist without the need for immediate resolution. Here are some self-study questions to navigate this. What beliefs or judgments am I holding onto that create division? How do I react when faced with uncertainty or differing opinions? In what areas of my life am I seeking answers to avoid discomfort? Can I allow space for ambiguity and trust in the unfolding process? Here are a few strategies for developing understanding and forgiveness. Number 1, acknowledge the situation. Take a quiet moment to reflect on what happened. How did it make you feel? Because that's important. And any part you may have played. Ground yourself with deep breaths to calm your nervous system before moving forward. Number 2, name your feelings and practice self-compassion. Use tools like a feelings wheel to identify your emotions and understand their source. Offer yourself kindness, knowing that mistakes are part of being human. Number 3, just let it out. Start off with an isolated space where you can just be by yourself and letting it out. Release built up emotions through journaling, movement, or safe expressions of anger, like yelling into a pillow. Processing emotions helps to clear space for calm and clarity. Number 4, establish clear boundaries if needed. Forgiveness doesn't mean allowing continued harm. Set boundaries to protect your well-being, communicate your needs clearly, and honor your own healing process. Number 5, lean into empathy if it's appropriate. When it feels safe, try seeing the situation from another person's perspective without dismissing your own pain. Compassion doesn't excuse behavior. It helps ease emotional weight. Number 6, communicate to create closure. If helpful, express your feelings to other persons to find resolution. Just remember, forgiveness is about your peace, not necessarily their apology. Seek support. Talk with trusted friends, family, or a therapist to process the healing. Forgiveness is a journey. Take your time and be gentle with yourself. Lastly, find the lesson and reclaim your power. Look for the wisdom in the experience to shift from pain to empowerment. Forgiveness frees you from resentment and helps you move forward stronger and wiser. As you become more capable of doing those things, as you move through this shadow process and transmuting it, you'll start to have a gift revealed to you, and that is the gift of understanding. In this fourth archetypal pattern of change, it emerges when you move beyond the rigid need to be right and begin listening with your heart. It's not just intellectual clarity, it's emotional intelligence that allows us to see from another's perspective with compassion. This gift builds bridges where division once existed, transforming judgment into genuine empathy. True understanding arises when we hold space for differing views without needing to control or fix them. As you keep doing this and realizing the benefits from the process, there are some self-empowerment statements that might come easily to you that you can embody moving forward. Here are 6. What is good for me will come so long as I am in resonance with it. I accept that divine timing will present itself with a reward for my commitment. Emotions help me understand what needs to be addressed inside of me. When I ask questions about how others are struggling, I learn more about them and what motivates them to keep trying. Understanding myself and others helps me to see what truly needs to get done to pave the way for mutual success. The next one is, I love getting lost in my work. The immersion helps me to create something others will truly appreciate and enjoy. I use my imagination to help create understanding in others, to protect and nurture a self-led process throughout their lives while being an inspirational example of living it myself. Next one is, I serve others when their need for my gifts and response inspire my core to do so. I am successful when serving others and their healed heart's needs. And lastly, I understand when excess can and does become adversely toxic. I appreciate the values of restraint, and I am patient with the process of welcoming abundant opportunities. Here's a couple more affirmations as a bonus. The combination of my thoughts and experiences grant me knowledge about how I need to proceed confidently and faithfully into the future. I'll patiently wait to see if my answers are correct. As you start to embody these affirmations, then they become one with you, and you've taken all that excess anger and fear, and you've purged it, creating that vacancy to embody this state and use this gift of understanding. Once applied over time, you'll start to feel like there's a consistent grace that descends upon you, and that grace is of forgiveness. Forgiveness, which transcends the need for answers and embraces the inherent unity of it all. It allows us to see beyond the surface, recognizing the interconnectedness of all beings and situations. This state is characterized by profound peace and the ability to release all judgments, leading to true freedom and understanding. So here is the process all summed up in a concise version. Step 1, recognize the shadow. Watch how it leads to judgment, apathy, or hypercriticism. Both the apathetic withdrawal and the nitpicking crusade stem from the same fear that no answer will bring safety or assurance. Step 2, acknowledge the dilemma. The real discomfort isn't ignorance, it's the lack of control. Certainly feels like safety, but life offers ambiguity. The ego clings to the clarity as a shield against vulnerability. Step 3, making the right choice. Instead of bracing for uncertainty, soften. Let your heart breathe into the quote, I don't know yet, This surrender to uncertainty is the portal to peace. Step 4, new self-empowerment statements. I welcome mystery as a teacher in understanding myself and others. I find what truly needs to be done, not what merely needs to be answered. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it brought you deep insight as to how to navigate this shadow challenge. Thank you for letting me take you on this journey from shadow to light. In the subsequent part of this lesson, you will have a whole bunch of therapy options, um, exercises. There's a 12-week process where you can transition out of it organically and create a solid imprint of a new way you're going to deal with this shadow, embrace it, and integrate it so that you can not be disempowered or affected adversely by it. If you're interested in gaining more support and community in this area and field of study of self-development and spiritual mastery, you can always look me up on Meetup, where I have 3 groups. First one, more related to this, would be the Spiritual Divination group, where you're learning more about the gene keys and human design systems. The next one is on emotional intelligence, so that you can navigate your emotions, have very healthy conversations with them, so that you don't feel like they're in control. And lastly, there's the emotional trauma release group, so we can learn how to unpack unprocessed trauma, emotional, psychological, and create the vacancy to then put what was really healthy in there.